You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, it's Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? You know I miss you when we're not talking. All right, come on. Don't give me that look. You know I miss you when we're not talking. Now, just as a reminder, I am coming to you live from KLRNRadio.com, where liberty and reason still reign. And yes, you can join me in the chat room. That is KLRNRadio.com/chat. Or you can tag me in a tweet. And that would be at Jessie's POV. Now, those are the ways you can interact with me live. If you happen to be one of my many on-demand podcast or Memorex listeners, you can always email me at the station. That's Jessie, Jessi, Jessie's POV at KLRNradio.com. And Jessie is spelled Jessie. All right. I have some of the most disturbing audio I have ever shared with you. I don't say things like that lightly. I really don't. This audio is truly bone-chilling. What is it about? All right. Otto Warmbeer's parents did an interview on Fox News this morning about what it was like to see Otto for the first time. Now, I can only play a snippet of it. If you want, we have rules at the station. There's a limit to how much I can play. All right? Got to stay within the rules. But I do have some of it for you. So I will be bringing that to you shortly. And I'd like to bring up the question again of who's declaring war on who? The rhetoric in North Korea, between the United States and North Korea, is probably at an all-time high. Now, I'm going to start with the audio from Fred Warmbier. It's a little longer of a clip than I usually play. It's 1 minute and 24 seconds. Please listen to every bone-chilling, terrifying second. Put yourself in these parents' shoes. And you will know why I rail against North Korea the way I do.
We walked over to the plane. The engines are still humming. They had just landed. We walked up the steps. When we got halfway up the steps, we heard this howling, involuntary, inhuman sound. We weren't really certain what it was. We climbed to the top of the steps and we looked in, and Otto was on the stretcher across in the plane, and he was jerking violently, making these inhuman sounds. Cindy and Greta ran off the plane. Austin and I walked over to Otto. Otto had a shaved head. He had a feeding tube coming out of his nose. He was staring blankly into space, jerking violently. He was blind. He was deaf. As we looked at him and tried to comfort him, it looked like someone had taken a pair of pliers and rearranged his bottom teeth.
Oh my gosh.
Within 2 days of Otto being home, his fever spiked to 104 degrees. He had a large scar on his right foot. North Korea is not a victim. They're terrorists.
They destroyed him.
They purposely and intentionally injured Otto.
Okay, if you could listen to that and not shed a tear for these parents and not realize what a horrific place North Korea is. I'm not sure I want you as a listener of my show, and I never say that. I love my listeners. No parent, no matter what their child has done, deserves to have their child returned to them in such a state of such a horrific state. And North Korea says they're the victims? Excuse me? Excuse me? No. And I'm going to stand by my stand by my assertion that North Korea is part mafia, part terrorist state. And this certainly backs up the terrorist state. Now, what appalled Fred Warmbier, and I cannot play the audio because I've about reached my limit of other, copyrighted audio I'm allowed to play, was that North Korea is not listed as a state sponsor of terror. Now, this is something I knew. However, that doesn't mean it is right. North Korea is a known weapons proliferation state. That means they sell every weapon system they have ever developed, bar none. Yes, they sell them all. So, it's not if they will sell their ICBM technology or their nuclear weapons technology. It's when. Now, to further back up the chaos in North Korea, this was the response the United Nations ambassador made on the floor of the UN to the Rocket Man comment that Trump made. Now, just to be fair here, Trump was warned by his advisors not to make this a personal attack. He did it anyway.
Due to his lacking of basic common knowledge and proper sentiment, he tried to insult the supreme dignity of my country by referring it to a rocket. By doing so, however, he committed an irreversible mistake of making our rockets visit to the entire US mainland inevitable all the more.
All right. Did you catch that? Because he made it personal. He made it all the more likely that he made it inevitable that North Korea will launch rockets on the U.S. mainland. I want to play that again. I want you to hear it.
Due to his lacking of basic common knowledge and proper sentiment, he tried to insult the supreme dignity of my country by referring it to a rocket. By doing so, however, he committed an irreversible mistake of making our rocket's visit to the entire U.S. mainland inevitable all the more.
All right, inevitable all the more. Now, that wasn't the only comment he said.
None other than Trump himself is on a suicide mission. In case innocent lives of the U.S. are harmed because of this suicide attack, Trump will be held totally responsible. The respected supreme leader of the DPRK, Comrade Kim Jong-un, stated, "As a man representing the DPRK and on behalf of the dignity and honor of my state and people and on my own, I will make the man holding the prerogative of the supreme command in the U.S. pay dearly for his speech calling for totally destroying the DPRK."
All right. Then they flip out over one tweet from our president. One tweet. Yet they tortured an American citizen. And the video they showed claiming he was attempting to steal the poster only showed him touching it. We don't know if he pulled it off the wall or tried to. They claimed he did. But I personally don't buy much of anything that North Korea has to say. I really don't. I just don't buy it. North Korea is an irresponsible state actor on the world stage. They regularly violate UN security resolutions. They are trading with a nation who wrote the book on evading sanctions. There is no excuse for what they did to Otto Warmbier. Now, what his parents were expecting home was someone who looked about the same as they last saw him, was possibly in a medically induced coma, but would be resting comfortably. Not the shaved head, mangled teeth, version of their son they got. And they did lose their son 6 days later. I'm sorry, but dumping a quote-unquote dead body, or a mostly dead body, on a doorstep is a mafia tactic. It well and truly is. It well and truly is. It is a mafia tactic. I must say that the government of North Korea is the most reprehensible thing I can imagine. Now, I've had a couple comments and questions from Ron in the chat room over at KLRNRadio.com that I want to address. All right. Do I believe that North Korea will launch on us? No, I don't. What I do think they will do they may be crazy enough to test a nuclear missile over middle of nowhere Pacific Ocean. They very well may be that crazy. They may be that crazy. I can see them scrambling some of their aged fighter planes or whatever they have that can fly. Barrels with wings, I don't know. To fly near our bombers and fighters. I could see them doing any number of things. Do I actually think they are going to launch an attack on the U.S. mainland? No. However, could I see them maybe launching a rocket over Guam above its international airspace? They might be that brave. If they're willing to set off a nuclear bomb in the middle of the frickin' Pacific Ocean, I don't see why they wouldn't launch a missile over Guam airspace. Now, remember, there's a height limit to airspace, just like there is to everything else. There's a certain altitude at which it is not a violation of sovereign airspace. What I'm waiting to see is the day one of these missiles that they shoot off over somebody's airspace has a failure mid-flight and part of it falls down into the airspace or even hits the country. It'd be on like Donkey Kong. All right, folks. Didn't do this at the beginning of the show, but I am going to do it now. Yes, that's the show prep. No, it doesn't sound very voluminous. However, I do have an announcement to make now that I think Rick has gone to bed. Shh! Don't tell. I'm hijacking America Off the Rails tonight, and I've got a special guest who's never been on KLRNRadio.com tonight. And all I will tell you about him, he served in the United States Marine Corps, and he is an awesome guy with a good head on his shoulders. So yes, there will be a live edition of America Off the Rails tonight, but I'm hijacking the show. So yes, Jesse's going to talk politics with you at 11 o'clock tonight on KLRN Radio. All right, I was a little late getting my act together, but that doesn't mean I don't have to take my commercial break, even though there is nobody hot on my heels tonight. But I still got stuff to do between now and the next show. So we are going to pay those radio station bills. And I will see you on the other side. Don't forget, you can join me in the chat room at klrnradio.com/chat.
It's totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Forget what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country needing you right now. But I don't wanna.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. healthcare, freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty HealthShare and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Down if you wanna, you can run away if you wanna, you can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna, you can play dead if you wanna, forget what they said if you wanna, turn your back on a country needing you right now, but I don't wanna.
Alright, thank y'all for hanging in there with me while I paid those radio station bills. Yes, I am going to be very out of character tonight at 11 p.m. on KLRNRadio.com. And yes, I will be back in the chat room at 11 p.m. tonight. I am going to exit for the hour between 10 and 11 tonight Eastern Time. However, I'll be back. And I might even be able to get my special guest into the chat room. We'll see. I don't think it'll take too much convincing. He's kind of excited to be on the show. Nope. I'm not telling you who he is. You're going to have to tune in to find out. But he served in the United States Marine Corps, and he has some pretty strong opinions. What Marine isn't a strong person and doesn't have strong opinions? I couldn't tell you. But, you know me, I like my veterans and my military. Now, back to the other topics I wanted to cover tonight. We are almost done with the Korean Peninsula because I do have a couple of other stories. Now, there are other things. There are other things going on in the Asia-Pacific region that I will touch on. Okay? North Korea apparently took no immediate action in response to the U.S. bomber flight. However, then I have an article dated a few time-stamped, literally within hours, that said North Korea appears to have boosted defenses on its east coast. And tensions, of course, have been ratcheting up, especially since North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho said Trump's Twitter comments amounted to a declaration of war. All right. Does anybody in my listening audience actually think the President of the United States can declare war by sending out a tweet? Does anybody really think so? Well, I will say, in this one case, the sitting president, and this would go for any sitting president when it comes to the Korean Peninsula, may not need a congressional declaration of war. Why, you ask? Need I remind you, North and South Korea are still technically at war? 1953, what was brokered was a ceasefire. It was not a peace treaty. And Congress declares war, not the president. But in this case, Trump may not need a congressional declaration of war. Simply because of the fact the two countries are still technically at war. So he may not have to put a vote before Congress. Because there's already a declaration of war. Now, I'd have to check with some legal scholars and other experts to be sure. However, there's already a declaration of war. I don't think he needs one. Now, not that the consensus in the chat room means anything, but that seems to be the consensus in the chat room too. You want to know what chat room I'm talking about? It's over at klrnradio.com/chat. All right. So, North Korea didn't scramble any planes, but they did reallocate some and shuffle them around after we had B-1B bombers flying further north. Now, they were over international waters, but they were just, I heard, skirting the edge. Now, the B-1B bombers are the ones that carry the big bombs. They could, if they chose to, carry a nuclear device, I believe. Now, China has cut their fuel exports to North Korea and their iron ore imports from the Hermit Kingdom. But coal shipments had a 5-month hiatus and then picked back up. So, is China going to be the reliable actor they're claiming to be? Or are they going to turn around and stab us in the back? I don't know. Now, Secretary of Defense Mattis was on a recent visit to India, and he appreciated global efforts to increase pressure on North Korea. And there is, of course, always the risk of miscalculation, kicking it off at any point. Now, why do I bring this all up? North Korea has said they reserve the right to shoot down any plane, whether it's in its airspace or not. Hey, quackers, Rocket Man, whatever you want to be called this week. Yeah, you. I dare you. It'll be on like you've never seen it. Now, I just want to remind people of some older clips. What UN Ambassador Nikki Haley said a few weeks ago.
Continue to be reckless, and at that point, there's not a whole lot the Security Council is going to be able to do from here when you've cut 90% of the trade and 30% of the oil. So, having said that, I have no problem kicking it to General Mattis because I think he has plenty of options.
Ambassador Haley said, if they continue to act up, she has no problem kicking it to General Mattis. Now, General Mattis, and I don't have audio on this, said that quite clearly there are military options that will not leave Seoul in a ball of flames. He didn't elaborate, and I wouldn't expect the warrior monk to do so. Now, I just want to remind you what another North Korean diplomat to the United Nations, this one was from the United Nations office in Geneva, said just after their 6th nuclear test.
I am proud of saying that just 2 days ago, on 3rd of September, DPRK successfully carried out the hydrogen bomb test for intercontinental ballistic rocket and its plan for building a strategic nuclear force. The test is part of normal activities, according to policy line of the Workers' Party of Korea, to simultaneously push forward economic construction and building of nuclear force. The recent self-defensive measures by my country, DPRK, are gift package addressed to none other than the U.S. The U.S. will receive more gift packages from my country as long as it relies on reckless provocations and futile attempt to put pressure on the DPRK.
All right, so just in case you couldn't understand him, because he is a bit of a challenge, he said that the 6th nuclear test was a gift package to the United States, and that the United States can prepare to receive more gift packages. Now, I've got one more clip I have got to pull out, and I know for you regular listeners that you've heard this one many times, but I'm going to try and cut it a little bit short and get to the point. This is Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dunford. Now, this clip is going on about 2 months old, if I had to guess without looking up the date.
Kim Jong-un to come to the table and begin to have a conversation, at least stop the path that he's on right now, which is further development of intercontinental ballistic missiles and nuclear capability. And to me, it makes all the sense in the world to prove the theory of the case and to work this for a few more months.
Did you catch that? Prove the theory of the case and work this for a few more months. Yes, General Dunford put a timetable on his patience. Now, does that mean it's set in stone? No. But people at his rank, people with his experience, don't make silly slip-ups at a publicly available discussion on North Korea. I've got one more good old standard audio clip I'm going to pull. And just got to track it down. It takes me just a second because I hadn't planned on using this one tonight. All right. This is Admiral Harris. Now, this one's real short. and it speaks for itself.
Well, I don't know if those missiles can actually hit what they're aimed at, but like horseshoes and hand grenades, getting close is all that's needed when you're dealing with nuclear weapons.
Horseshoes, hand grenades, nuclear weapons. Close is all that's needed. All right. Personally, I'm wondering if we're going to be hearing on the Korean Peninsula. We are already hearing on a fairly routine basis with all the shows of force and sneaking up and around the DMZ. Now, for those of you who are new listeners, I want to run over my scorecard here and how I think all the players interact. Then I am going to cover the one or two other topics I had besides Rocket Man, Otto Warmbier, and this cross between a mafia and terrorist state. North Korea's primary trading partner, everybody knows, China. Okay, so China is North Korea's big brother. North Korea's second trading partner, Russia. Who's North Korea's third trading partner? Iran. Now, I am working under the premise that some of that lovely plane load of hard currency that President Obama sent into Iran, because I was able to track down some proof of diplomatic meetings between the two nations. It was nothing more than propaganda talk from both countries' newspapers, but it's still proof that the meetings happened on some level. Started about 30 days after that plane load of cash landed in Tehran, Iran. I am willing to bet that because of the Iran nuclear deal, which, in my opinion, isn't worth the paper it's printed on, is why Iran chose to fund part or more of North Korea's nuclear and missile research. Because they can't do it themselves right now because they are being too closely watched. At least they can't do it themselves in the same quantity North Korea can. Because remember, Iran wrote the book on evading UN sanctions. They did it for decades. No joke, they did it for decades. Now, what makes this even... Take this a step further. Who are Iran and Russia propping up? Who are they? My regular listeners will know this one. That is my sound effect for none other than Bashar al-Assad of Syria. Now, Iran is trying to get a foothold in the Middle East. China is trying to grab the South China Sea. So you've got two of these people that North Korea is trading with, each playing for keeps somewhere else. I'm willing to bet China's going to behind the scenes to the U.S. Hey, you want us to stomp a mud hole in North Korea for you? Give us the South China Sea. Let us have it. Stop your freedom of navigation exercises. Stop defending it. Now, just as a refresher, the South China Sea is where China played a real-world version of Minecraft. Oh, yes, they built land where there was none. And then they were taken to the International Court of Arbitration by a number of the smaller countries who had claims in the same islands. And the International Court of Arbitration slapped China down and said, no, that ain't all yours. And I'm giving the real quick thumbnail. And China basically said, so what? We don't care. So I'm saying that China really doesn't care that North Korea is over there acting a fool. They're going, great, you keep that up. As long as you don't get too bad, we're going to ignore you. So everybody's looking your way, and we can be over here playing Minecraft. They are militarizing those islands. There are silos on those islands. There are military-grade landing strips. There are hangars. There are many covered things we cannot see via satellite. So China is trying to expand its territorial waters because they are working on the One Belt, One Road project. In other words, they are trying to build a version of a new Silk Road. They are trying to get a trade route between land, sea, rail, and everything else that goes from China all the way to Europe. And, well, so far they're actually having some success. In fact, they are investing a ton of money in Iranian infrastructure. So now you have North Korea trading with Iran and China investing in Iran. And President Obama lifted the sanctions. Wah, wah. All right. I want to get to this one last story because as much as I could go on about North Korea, and all of you have heard my shows before, you know it. And if you didn't hear my show last Wednesday with my special guest, Justin Kinney, it's available on demand at KLRNRadio on my .com on my show page, Jesse's POV. You can just go to our show page and find my page. It's also a podcast available at many of your favorite podcast locations: iHeart, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher. I can't name them all. Just grab your smartphone, go to the little podcast app, and type in Jesse's POV. I'm willing to bet it's going to pop right up. What is the other thing that caught my attention about the Asia-Pacific region? This is a story that has not made mainstream media TV coverage in many a month. When's the last time you heard the words Fukushima? Yeah, the Fukushima nuclear cleanup from the reactor that melted down. It wasn't one reactor, by the way. It was 3 that melted down. Now, I'm going to give you the quick thumbnail version on this because I am running out of time. 3 reactors had meltdowns together, have 1,573 units of mostly used nuclear fuel rods that are still inside and must be kept cool in pools of water. Now, this is the highest risk thing in the event of another major earthquake that could trigger the fuel rods to melt and release massive radiation due to loss of water from sloshing or structural damage, because the pools, are you ready for this, are uncovered. They have started making plans to begin moving rods from reactor number 3. However, the latest roadmap delays removal of the rods from units 1 and 2 for 3 years because further decontamination work and additional safety measures are needed. Ironically, you want to know about why Building 3's getting its rods removed first? It was the most heavily damaged building. Then you've got the contaminated water. They've had to treat and store a massive amount of radioactive water, 800,000 tons, and the volume grows every day. Cooling water leaks out of the reactors, mixed with groundwater, seeps into basements of the reactors, buildings, does all kinds of nasty things. The water is stored in hundreds of tanks that cover much of the plant property. These tanks get in the way of decommissioning work and pose another risk. God forbid one of them breaks. And if you want more information on how a nuclear reactor works, there is an episode of Conversations in Science that tells you just that. Yes, that's another show here on KLRN Radio. All right. Just as a reminder, you can find me on Twitter at Jesse's POV. That's JESSIES POV. You can email me at the station. That's Jesse's POV at KLRNradio.com. Now, you new listeners, buckle up your seatbelts. Hang on for the ride. You regular listeners, you know what's coming.